Welcome back, Rock Raiders, to a very special episode of R.R. Slugger's Rock Raiders Retrospective. Tonight, we're putting on an awards show hosted by yours truly and featuring what I consider to be the top 10 Rock Raiders alternate builds. One disclaimer up front, this is all just One Slug's opinion, and while I do have some criteria for how I came to finalize this list, in the end it is all subjective. Without further ado, let's kick things off with number 10. Just barely clambering up onto this list is an alternate build for the Rapid Rider. I felt that this one was the best of the three, and even though I considered disqualifying it because of its use of pieces that weren't included in the final set, I ended up giving it a pass. I think the long nose of this design is too cool to ignore. At number 9, we have this crocodile-shaped alt build for the Loader Dozer. I feel conflicted putting this one so low on the list because I really do love the design of this thing, but I can't honestly say it feels complete, especially compared to some of the other builds we have coming up. Ideally, I'd love to see this idea realized with more pieces someday, and maybe I'll be the one to do it. At number 8, we have an unlikely Granite Grinder alternate build, creating some sort of drill craft. This is one that I expected to dislike, but upon building it, I was surprised how complete it feels. This build, almost more than any other on this list, truly feels like it could have been released alongside the retail sets, maybe even in the coveted 4960 spot. You might be shocked, but at number 7 we have the Ground Hopper, one of the Kabaya combiners. It may be small, but I think there are many great design choices here. It also gets top marks in the parts usage category because every single piece available is utilized well here. At number 6, we have the Hover Transport, another alternate build for the Loader Dozer, and my favorite seafaring vessel on this list. It manages to use some of the juniorized pieces in smart ways and results in a quite large and sturdy build. I see this design as a potential springboard for an even more fleshed out assembly if we had carte blanche with the piece selection. Now, breaking into the top 5, we have this dynamic duo of an alternate build for the Chrome Crusher. The Driller is certainly an intriguing design, combining the large black wheels and chrome drill with an otherwise narrow chassis. I think this makes for a great intermediate step between the Small Digger and Granite Grinder. The star of the show here is definitely the Lava Barge, with its downright genius integration of the cockpit piece as the hull and laser piece as the propulsion. It was a bit of a tricky build though, and that's one of the reasons why we aren't going to see any of the other Chrome Crusher alternate builds on this list. For as interesting as they might look, they were a chore to build, and I think this has severely soured my opinion of them. Moving on though, we come to the number 4 spot and our first Rock Raiders HQ alternate build. While the floodlights are utterly jank, the rest of the builds are solid. The intricacy of the launch pad shows off the detail potential within Rock Raiders, and the side builds are all strong enough that I decided not to take them apart after the 4990 episode, so they can continue to appear in the background. At number 3, we have this pair of builds for the Tunnel Transport. Had this alternate build been only the larger of the two vessels, I think I would have ranked it higher on the list, to be honest. The smaller craft is strange and somewhat forgettable, and I feel its inclusion drags the pair down a bit. The main attraction is just so unique, though, that it had to make top 3. While it does have some weak connection points, namely where the roll cage attaches without reinforcement, and the large conning tower where the propellers sit, this design is truly inspired, and luckily the Tunnel Transport contains enough pieces to make this idea a reality. This one may also come as a bit of a surprise, but at number 2 we have this drilling platform alternate build for the Granite Grinder. I think it speaks to the designer's ingenuity that they were able to convert an upright drilling walker into something sedentary and industrial looking. I love the inverted slopes creating an alcove for the drill to rest in, and the lamps and warning lights all over the equipment really lend to the realism. This is a clear standout alternate build for Rock Raiders, and I've kept mine assembled ever since I built it. Before we get to the number 1 spot, we need to have some dishonorable mentions. These are alternate builds that are either unimpressive, frustrating to construct, or just downright bad designs. I know I've already ripped into the Chrome Crusher alternate builds this episode, but this one deserves special mention. What you see here is constructed wrong. I know it's wrong, but I just ran out of pieces and widths to finish it properly. The tension in the black hoses was tearing the set apart, so I happily disassembled it the second I was done with photography. If I did a top 10 worst alternate builds video, we know it would just mostly be Kabaya sets. Some like the Groundhopper are strong, but many aren't. Case in point, the alternate build for the Chain Dozer. I know there's barely anything that can be done with the pieces here, but it doesn't help this one from coming off as pathetic. Lastly, this Loader Dozer alt build is just a bad design. It's not like the parts available made things impossible, because we actually saw both of the other alt builds from this set on the list already. It just feels like the designers gave up on this one. Alright, with all of that out of the way, let's take a look at the number 1 Rock Raiders alternate build. In the top spot, we have the Hot Air Pelican. Wait, sorry, wrong envelope. Here it is. Yep. The Trio alt build for the Tunnel Transport. This alt build, more than any on this list, surprised me with its level of engineering complexity and thoughtfulness surrounding its play features. While it may not be as much of a looker compared to its buddies in the top 3, it contains as many details and play features as any of the large Rock Raider sets, really making this one feel like a complete playset. The long bed truck has such a unique look to it, and the station platform is equally solid. The integral magnet system is what ties this whole alternate build together, allowing the flying craft to dock with the truck and platform in a satisfying manner that honestly expands upon what was achieved with the tunnel transport. This is a rare example of an alternate build doing something better than the main set it was built from. This build raised the bar for my expectations of alternate builds, and as you can see, I think it's a bar that the other sets weren't able to top. I want to give a special thank you to my good friend Brett for helping me construct many of these alternate builds, no matter how tedious they were to get right. He also creates the original artwork for this channel and is an all-around pretty cool guy. Thanks for watching, everyone. Did I miss any amazing alternate builds? Let me know. I've been your host, RR Slugger, and I hope to see you next time for some high adventure deep underground.